again, Guyana. Welcome to another edition of West Side Story. I am Malika Ramsey. Thank you so very much for joining us. This week, it's my pleasure to begin West Side Story right here in front of the RDC, that is the Regional Democratic Council Administrative Office of Region 3. In a minute or two, we will go on the inside and speak with the new DREO. For those of you who are not familiar with it, the DREO is the Deputy Regional Executive Officer of Region 3. Her name is Jennifer Ferreira, and we'll begin West Side Story this week by having a conversation with Ms. Ferreira, and she'll tell you all about her plans to help and to aid in the development of this region. Of course, as the government, the APNU+AFC government, continues in its quest to provide that good life for all Guyanese, especially right here in Region 3 on the west side. Again, I am Malika Ramsey, and this is West Side Story. Again, Guyana, and as I did promise you earlier, this week on West Side Story, we will begin our edition by focusing on the DREO. For those of you who don't know what DREO is, it's the Deputy Regional Executive Officer of Region 3. Now, this young lady, I like to call her a young lady, she's fairly new to Guyana in terms of being the Deputy REO for this region. She has a lot to do, and she has already let us know in more ways than one that she is ready and fully on board with ensuring that, that good life for all Guyanese is provided, and she's contributing in whatever way that she can. So West Side Story would like to welcome her to the first time to this program for the first time, and we know for certainly it would not be her last. So welcome to West Side Story, Miss Jennifer Ferreira. Welcome, ma'am.
Thank you, Malika, and it's a pleasure having you here this morning.
And I'm happy that she's allowed me to invade her space for a bit. Of course, we usually record West Side Story on Tuesdays, and it's in the morning. We're not sure when this is going to reach you, but you'll understand what's happening here. First off, congratulations from the entire West Side Story team on your post, and we know that you're ready and raring to go.
Thank you, Malika. Region 3 is not strange to me. I grew up in Parika for a couple of years, then I went to Georgetown, came back, lived in Denamsel for another couple of years, where my political career actually took off. From Denamsel, I went to the cadres program, the YSM cadres program, because I was the secretary for the YSM group in Denamsel, and that's where my political career took off. Went to Georgetown, spent a number of years, worked with the party, and then a member of parliament for 11 and a half years, and then I migrated to the United States of America for over 20-something years, and now I'm back to do my job in Region 3.
Well, we're happy to have you back, and I'm happy that you basically laid the foundation, so you understand this indeed is a daughter of the soil. You understand where she comes from, and the fact that Region 3 indeed is very dear and near to her heart. We continue to remind you that the idea of West Side Story is to let you see and hear all about the works that the current APNU+AFC administration is doing to ensure that all of us get that good life that the APNU, Brigadier David Granger, of course, President David Granger, and the APNU had previously promised. Jennifer, let's talk about some of your plans for Region 3. And I know your role is somewhat sort of a supportive role to the REO, who is, as you know, Mr. Dennis Jaikaran. Let's talk about your role and functions.
Okay, my role and function here, as you just said, one of them is to work with Mr. Jaikaran, who I've known for 35 years, and he is a go-getter. I put myself in as a go-getter too. My plans is to empower the young people in Region 3, and the President has given us a challenge for Region 3 to be the breadbasket of this country and of the region, and I see the potentials, and that is where we will go. I also intend to make Region 3 a model region. We have a lot of work here to do. This is an agricultural region, and we can feed the whole of Guyana and out of Guyana also. So this is one of the things that I plan to do. My main thing is to work with the young people and empower them.
And that I want to follow up on that because we always keep hearing that the young people, they're the future and so on. And the fact is, this is the reality, viewers. Some of our young people are a bit disappointed. They're not necessarily happy with the state in which they are in. And some have even expressed disappointment in the government. Again, I know you're playing that supportive role. What do you see is needed? How can we reach the young people almost immediately to put them in a happier place?
I feel the first thing we have to sit and talk with the young people and let them understand that we adults are not there to just put them aside, even though that happens at sometimes. Because since I came, I had a little conversation with a number of young people in Region 3 as recently as Sunday in the NAMSA, where I had a meeting with Minister Harmon. The government is doing outreach. And the young people in there is saying, oh, the big people always tell us, oh, you got to step aside. Now, I already made an appointment to meet them because the first thing we have to do is train our young people, right? And we have to do that. That's the first thing, or else even with no training, they can't do what they have to do. As I said to some of them, my appointment here didn't come easy. We had to work through the adults, and they used to tell us, "Oh, you step aside in it." But we were fighters, because in my era they haven't had a young man by the name of what's his name now? He died. Stanley, Lex Stanley. He was a fighter, and when you walk behind Lex Stanley, you know what you want, you will get. There's another fighter here, Aubrey Norton, and he is doing a fine job with the young people right now. And, I'm supposed to meet the young people next Tuesday in the NAMCEL. And what I want to do is to have them form a YSM group, because we have to empower these people, because they're the present is not really they're the future. They're the present now. They have to start doing it now, because I might look young, looking good and good looking, I know. But the energy that I have now, I want to use it up, because when I see young people, as I said last Sunday, they energize me, because where you see a lot of young people, there's something good happening, and we have to work on it very quickly.
All right, great. Let's talk about in terms of the physical structure of Region 3. What is your passion? Is there anything that you have seen thus far that you would say, well, look, we need to get this done. We need to get this fixed almost immediately. Let's talk about the physical surrounding.
Yes, one of the things that I was happy about and it energized me also is when I see the extension of the road from Reading Hope. I think it goes right down to Perica, where BK and the Jamaican company, they're working in conjunction. Another thing is I have a passion with these drains that to be dug, so that when the rainy season comes, and that comes it coming December, or even it starts in October, that I am in Region 3 now, and I don't want to see or hear people saying that the drains flooded up, the house flooded up. Those are one of the things that we are working right now on. On the first week in May, we're sending an excavator into Parfait Harmony to dig the trenches, and then I encourage some of the people in Parfait Harmony. When we had a meeting with Minister Brooms, we encouraged them to come out and do self-help, because they were talking about the drains to be dug. And I said to them, I grew up in the Burnham era. And myself, Dr. Van West Charles, Lennox Marshall, Morris Bledman, and a lot of us on the Sundays, we used to go to Albay Stang, up the river, up the East Bank, and do self-help work. So I'm encouraging the people in Parfait Harmony. I'll be there with them. Minister Brooms, when she has the time, will be there with them to do some self-help, digging the drains, because The excavators can't dig all the drains. And I'm saying if you dig your part, the neighbor dig their part. I said to them, let's cook some cocoa rice, do some lemonade drink, and we'll do the self-help work.
And indeed, I love that you said that, Jennifer, because again, we have to keep reminding people about the new initiatives that came into place with the APNU+AFC administration. Yes, we're almost 2 years old, but it is still, compared to having the previous administration for about 2 decades, it's still basically a new administration. And one of the things that came into play would have been the Department of Social Cohesion. And in listening to Jennifer talk about the plans and so on to cook and to, to have more or less a family-oriented area, it's indeed promoting social cohesion. Don't you think, Jennifer?
Yes, it is. And I plan to, wherever I go when we're doing this outreach, to encourage our people to do self-help, because as I said last Sunday, there are errors that we inherit, and we cannot fix those errors in a day, in a week, in 2 weeks. What we have to do to help ourselves is to do self-help. Another thing what I have a passion with since I came home, the president is talking about the green. We need to plant. We need to go back to the earth. Now, where I'm going to live, I already called my little brother and I said, listen, I want you to dig up the yard, fork it up so I can eat all my vegetables from the plant. I remember Mr. Burnham asking people to plant in drums, in tires and all that. We have to go back to that, so we can have a green life.
Indeed, I'm sure all of Ghana would agree with you. One of the things that you also spoke about last Sunday at the meeting with the Minister of State is the fact that you want to also meet with the women of Region 3. Let's talk about possible initiatives for them, and why do you think it's necessary to meet with them at this point?
Well, I'm going to meet with the women also when I meet with the young people, because for me, I think it will tie in. And the women in my era, it's the forefront in any political situation or political organization, because we, the women, can influence the men to come where we want them to go. And the women are always the leading factors in politics. So I feel that we have to bring our women out, because a lot of our women have a lot of training and they just have it there sitting. I remember Viola Burnham had sent a whole set of women out to do some training. I would like, and in Dan Amstel, I would like to have those women, because I know they have some other women in Stroudville too. I would like those women to come out and teach the young people to be empowered, because I used to sew from primary school. I went to St. Ambrose Anglican School and they teach me to sew, and I used to sew my clothes up to when I was 18 years. But then as you got bigger, the money makers in the stores pull you in and you don't want to sew no more. And sewing for young people, they can empower their own selves, so the women are the powerhouse.
All right, on West Side Story, we have to begin to wrap up our discussion with DREO, Jennifer Ferreira. Jennifer, I just want, before we leave your office today and allow you to get back to your work, I just want you to leave something with the people of Region 3 in terms of, this is given all that you've said thus far, what can they really expect from Deputy Regional Executive Officer Jennifer Ferreira?
I would like to say to the people in Region 3, I'm here to serve the people in Region 3, as I said, in regards of race, religion, sex, or political affiliation.
Thank you so much for allowing us to invade your space this morning.
Thank you, Malika. It's a pleasure.
All right, wonderful. Viewers, of course, this is West Side Story. Coming up in a minute or so, we will have more when we take a visit to the commander of Region 3. This is West Side Story. For staying with us on this week's edition of West Side Story. As I did promise you before, our next conversation is with the commander of this community, this region, the Assistant Commissioner, Mr. Leslie James. Welcome to West Side Story, sir.
You're most welcome. Thank you.
Great to have you. I like to remind you that on West Side Story here, we also focus on, apart from what government is doing to ensure that the people of this region get a good life, I also like to tell you what the other bodies, organizations, in this case, the Guyana Police Force, is doing to better the community here on the West Side. And of course, that is what we will be hearing from the Assistant Commissioner Leslie James today. Let's talk about some of those projects, sir, that are in place to not only promote community development, but in a sense reinforce the police force's mandate of safety and security, and in a sense harmony too.
That's right. It's in keeping with the forces policy where we are having partnerships, with business community and persons in the various communities. And specific to D Division, West Demerara Caribbean Islands, we've embarked on a number of projects in association with various communities. I should also say to you that the division do have a person referred to as a community relations officer.
Okay.
That person is an inspector, Inspector Grant. We also have 2 subdivisions. Subdivision 1, which is commanded by Assistant Superintendent Ramsey Singh, and we have Subdivision 2, which is commanded by Cadet Officer Jordan Dufu.
Okay.
Those 2 officers are tasked with engaging in the various communities within the 2 subdivisions. And in association with the community relations officer, Mr. Grant, they've embarked on a number of projects. Those projects include, we have a summer program, which will be run by the Lenora Technical Institute, scheduled sometime from, I think, June. 60 youths are targeted to attend that summer program.
And you've already chosen the youths?
We've had some names shortlisted, but I don't think we've met the quota just yet, but we have a target of 60 persons.
I don't know how much you can possibly reveal because I understand policies and security policy and so on, but is there a criteria that you can reveal at this time that is used to choose the youths to be a part of this program?
I would not disclose the criteria, but what we're trying to do basically is mainly focus on the less fortunate.
Understood.
We have the view that they might be the better deserved at this point. And because, we're looking at decadence, we're looking at troubled youths and so on. So we do have a criteria, and once the person fit that criteria, we would have them brought on board.
Sir, do you find with programs like these, because one of the complaints, and this is not only for this division, across the country you always hear complaints that citizens need to work more with the Guyana Police Force, not necessarily for them, the citizens themselves, to fight crime, but assist the police force, give the information that they need. Do you find when you have programs like these in place, it's in a sense strengthen your relationship with the general citizenry of the community?
Most certainly. This division is no different. That is an existing situation, and even more recently we find that persons are outreaching more to us.
Okay.
It assists us in our crime prevention efforts. It bolsters our crime intel capability. Persons are calling us much more. They're coming in, they're giving us information. And with those information, those interaction, we're indicting crime a little more. You find our investigations are done a little more quicker, and the persons, we're actually getting the right people.
Okay.
The right persons are being incarcerated, having been charged and convicted. So definitely with these outreaches, we are finding we're getting fruits, and we wish to encourage the people in the community to continue to come forward. We are their friend. We are their friend, and they should see us as their friend. I mean, we have a job to do where we're enforcing the laws, and they should not be afraid of us. So we also have a program referred to as team policing. Team policing, whereas specific ranks would be put together to fan out in the various communities, and their role is to again identify persons and groupings that need that kind of outreach. In the process, a number of things are discerned by those ranks who engage in that activity, and the feedback will be given to the station sergeant, who will fed upwards. It assists both ways. It gives confidence to the persons in the communities. It also assists us in doing our work in a more proficient manner. So at the moment, that is something ongoing. If I can move to some other projects.
Sure.
We do have some other projects. At the moment, we have a project at the Salem Multipurpose Ground. I myself, I've been there where I've met with a number of community leaders there. I remember readily Mr. Johnson, I think. We met with him, and we were told at that meeting that the Salem Perica area, in fact, that ground was very vibrant some years ago. And if you go there now, you will see recently some amount of work was done on the ground. There should be some fencing, and we've also have a number of youth groups put together. So very soon you'll see that area in the Salem Perica area becoming vibrant once again.
Okay, and of course I'm assuming different sporting activities will be played
Most
on the ground.
definitely.
Okay.
In addition, we have the Cornelia Ida community.
Yes.
There is a ground, a sports ground, which is currently, it was abandoned. No activity. We've identified that ground for activities. At the moment, we're gonna have it, all the grass, weeds, and whatever it is removed, then it will be rolled out. Of course, that area we also have some youth groups targeted. We also have some other areas in the potential area where we have similar type of work taking place. So as a number of areas specific in the division that we'll be engaging in, and the main target is the youths.
Okay. All right. Great, Assistant Commissioner Leslie James. Before we wrap up our conversation, in saying all of that and identifying the projects and so on that you have, which you did say would mainly benefit youth, what would you like to say at this time, especially to the people of this division, this region, these communities, in terms of how you'd like them to possibly work along with your team and so on, so further betterment for the division?
I am very much appreciative of this opportunity, because I wish to say very clearly to the residents of the division, when we have investigations ongoing, we would like to have your full support. We would like you to be very calm. We would like to have your full support. Just understand clearly, in all investigations, we approach it with an open mind. All investigations we investigate in a spiral manner. That is to ensure justice is served at the end of the investigation. Some of the investigations you may not see persons being charged very soon after. We are not in the business of charging people very soon after and resulting with a dismissal in the case. We prefer to have the right or correct persons placed before the court. In that regard, the investigation will take some time. So please bear with us whenever you see we're doing a matter and it is taking some time. It's not that we've forgotten the matter, but it's just we're peculiarly investigating the matter. So once again, I would like to appeal to you just to have calm. We have embarked on a professional approach to investigations. I've spoken to our ranks, and I'm encouraging professional approaches. You would have seen a change in the way in which our ranks are engaging with you in the communities. That's because we're dealing with these things specifically. I'm engaging today, Tuesday. I'm engaging in another meeting with our staff, and part of our discourse is to let them remember that we owe a service to the people of this division. And that service is to be professional in our approaches. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. Of course, viewers, this is West Side Story. We'll have more in a moment. Stay with us. viewers, unfortunately, this is where I have to take my leave from this week's edition of West Side Story. Now, what you got today is a very different West Side Story. We usually take you out into the communities and the field so you can see what's happening on the ground. But sometimes, in order to get the work done, we have to sit behind a desk every now and again. So it was my pleasure to be speaking with the new DREO, that's the Deputy Regional Executive Officer, Jennifer Ferreira. And of course, a moment ago or so, you saw me talking to the commander of this division, that's the commander of D Division, Mr. Leslie James, and he told you all about those programs and projects that the police force, of course, of this division are involved in to help better the lives of the people in this region and of course in these communities across this region and of course in the division. What will happen the next time we come back on West Side Story? Some of those same projects that he spoke to you about, we will be taking our cameras back out in the street so you can see exactly what it is that he's talking about and how much they would have achieved thus far. So right now, I am closing off West Side Story for this week right here in front of the Leonora police station. I always like to remind you, the folks who live here call it Lenora, but the correct pronunciation is Leonora. So from the Leonora police station where we just had a conversation with the D Division commander, I am Malika Ramsey, encouraging you to join me again for another edition of West Side Story. This has been West Side Story. Goodbye for now.